Hey everyone, I've got a huge update on this storm that's coming toward the end of March. Now, before we get into that, I want to clarify, this isn't the same storm we're currently dealing with. You can still see that strong high ridge sitting over here, bringing in above average temperatures. And we've got storms rolling through as ridge riders. But this next system still has a severe weather event lined up for Sunday, and it has actually intensified slightly, moving into the slight risk category. Now, while we can't rule out the chance of a tornado, I think this one is shaping up more as a damaging wind and large hail event rather than a major tornado threat. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Now, I know a lot of people are worried, saying, oh no, here we go again. But let me just clear this up. This is not another major tornado outbreak like the one we just had. This is a different kind of storm, okay? It's looking like it'll bring some large hail damaging winds, but as of right now, I'm not seeing any significant tornado potential. Could it happen? Sure, but it's not the dominant threat with the system. But once the system moves out, we're going to see a shift in the pattern. Our jet stream is going to become more zonal, meaning it'll flow more from west to east, and we'll start getting multiple low pressure systems coming through. So now both the GFS and Euro models are picking up on a strong system forming, one that could bring severe weather along with another big snowstorm. This pattern is actually good news for precipitation in some areas, especially where we've got extreme and exceptional drought conditions, particularly in Texas and parts of the upper Midwest. Unfortunately, if you're in the Southwest, you're not going to get much relief over the next 10 days, so that drought situation will continue. But southern and western Texas, the Midwest, and even the Northeast are going to see some improvement as these storms move through. Now let's take a look at Sunday's severe weather threat. The main risks are going to be large hail and damaging winds. Here are the cities and states that are in the risk zone. While rotating updrafts are possible, which means a tornado or two could develop, the primary concern remains the hail and wind. Late Sunday afternoon is when we'll see these storms really start to fire up. As we move into the Ohio Valley, we do have some storm activity there, but the instability just isn't as strong in that region. You'll still get some storms, but they won't be as intense. The real energy is focused farther south, where we've got better instability and moisture to work with. Now, that doesn't mean the Ohio Valley won't see storms at all. Winds aloft will help fire up some convection, so we'll still get some activity. But the stronger, more severe storms are going to be down in Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas as we move through Sunday evening. By the time we get into Monday morning, we'll see this system continue pushing east, bringing storms into Alabama, parts of the Florida Panhandle, and even into southern Georgia. Large hail and damaging winds will remain the primary threats, with just a small tornado risk. Again, they always say you can't rule out a tornado, and technically that's true, but don't see it as a big concern with this particular setup. Now, while all of this is happening, we're also going to have snowfall continuing up in the upper Midwest. As that cold air comes in, we'll see snow pivoting through parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And meanwhile, down south, storms will keep building over Tennessee and Kentucky, while Indiana and Ohio get weaker, less intense storms. The real instability is further south, which is why the storms up north just aren't packing as much of a punch. Fast forward to later next week, and we start getting another shift. High pressure begins building in, bringing colder air down from the north. The northern half of the country is going to feel this cooling trend, but the south won't be impacted as much. The Euro model places this high pressure over the Tennessee, Kentucky, the Mississippi Valley region, while the GFS has it further east. That difference is going to impact how much moisture we get from the Gulf, which will ultimately influence the severity of the next storm system. By next Friday and Saturday, we start to see a stronger system taking shape. This one looks more significant than what we're dealing with now. But again, not anything like the tornado outbreak we had before. It's just shaping up to be a stronger storm overall, pushing through the central U.S. and bringing severe weather from the south to the north. If we look at the jet stream, we can see that high ridge sitting over the country, keeping those above average temperatures in place while trough moves in, bringing cooler air. As we head into April, this pattern continues with one storm system after another moving through. These systems are going to bring heavy snow to parts of the country, but they'll also pack a severe weather punch as well. Yeah. Let's talk timing. The European model brings this storm in around March 28th, while the GFS holds off until around March 30th or later. Both models show a mix of snow, freezing rain, and strong winds, possibly even blizzard conditions in some areas. There's also a severe weather aspect to this system, so it's something we'll need to keep a close eye on right now. We've already got risk alerts for heavy snow between March 28th and April 3rd. The Great Lakes, interior Northeast, and parts of the upper Midwest all have a slight risk for heavy snowfall. The Rocky Mountains and higher elevations on the West Coast are also in the risk zone. Some areas could see over a foot of snow, especially in the Pacific Northwest parts of Montana, Wyoming, and the upper Midwest. Looking at freezing rain potential, it's pretty clear that with the extreme temperature contrast, we've got cold air pushing in from the west and warm air surging up from the east. There's going to be a decent amount of mixed precipitation. Along with that, we'll have strong damaging winds. The orange shading represents 50 MPA gusts, while the red indicates 60 MPA gusts, as these numbers could shift around a bit, especially since we're still looking over a week out, but it's something to keep in mind. Another thing to watch is heavy precipitation from March 28th to the 30th. We've got a slight risk of heavy rainfall stretching from the Ohio Valley down to southern Texas. The West Coast is also in the risk zone for heavy rain. And when we compare this with the current drought monitor, you can see why this is so important in southern and western Texas. Much of the Southwest, the upper Midwest, and the Northeast are all dealing with significant drought conditions. This upcoming system should help in some areas, but the Southwest isn't going to see much relief. All right, now let's take a look at the European model as we check out the current setup. We can see precipitation across the Northwest with snowfall in the higher elevations and rain in the lower elevations and coastal regions. This is all very elevation dependent, as you'd expect. The jet stream right now is looking pretty wavy, moving up and down across the region, creating a couple of critical areas where colder air is trying to push in. Meanwhile, we've also got some showers popping up across the Midwest and plains. Looking ahead to Saturday, the Rockies are seeing more snowfall with rainfall on either side of the mountain range. The Mid-Atlantic and Northeast are also seeing some showers, and in areas closer to the Great Lakes or at higher elevations. This could even fall as Sunday. More organized low pressure system. It was into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan, bringing heavier snowfall. At the same time, there's a decent chance for severe weather across the deep south, possibly extending into the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Meanwhile, another system in the Northwest brings additional snowfall to the Rockies and Cascades. Jumping ahead to Monday, thunderstorm activity increases across the Gulf Coast and Southeast, stretching up into the Mid-Atlantic. Snow is falling across the Adirondacks, Green Mountains, and White Mountains of New England, with some of it even making it into lower elevations. This is definitely shaping up to be a significant late season snow event in these areas. By midweek, the jet stream pattern starts shifting. A strong ridge builds out west, while a trough dominates the central and eastern U.S., reinforcing the colder air for a little while longer. By Friday, the pattern flips again. A ridge starts taking hold in the east, signaling a major warm-up, while Nutu digs into the west, bringing cooler temperatures and increasing storm activity. Fast forward to the end of March, and we see a very organized storm system developing over the plains. This setup is classic for severe weather in the South and Midwest, and we could be looking at a significant thunderstorm outbreak. Meanwhile, the Northeast may see more rain and possibly some snow as the system moves through. Now, shifting to the GFS model, this one paints a snowier picture than the European model. It suggests a potential snowstorm for parts of the Great Lakes and Northeast around the end of March into early April. But keep in mind, this is beyond the 10-day mark, so we have to take it with a grain of salt. Late season snowstorms aren't impossible, but they're harder to verify this time of year. Lastly, let's check in with the Storm Prediction Center. Over the next 3 days, we have several areas at risk for thunderstorms and severe weather. A general thunderstorm risk is in place for the Northwest and Midwest today. Besides tomorrow, a marginal risk appears for Kansas and Missouri, meaning isolated severe storms are possible. Then on Sunday, the threat increases with a slight risk covering parts of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee, where we could see more widespread severe weather activity. So if you're in any of these areas, make sure to stay weather aware and keep an eye on any watches or warnings that get issued. That's going to wrap up today's update. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a forecast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.